Welcome to Plain Donuts. If you like glazed chocolate or sprinkles, you're not welcomed. Come here and be a great D-hole with our two co-hosts, Steve and Alicia. Hopefully I got everyone's name right, because hopefully I don't screw that up. Plain Donuts.
Good Lord, thank you. Hey
everybody who is watching us.
Awkwardly, welcome to the Plain Donuts podcast. You like this dance?
Whoa, anyway, this is a sexy podcast. It's really hot.
This is the first time we've ever done like a live podcast with our faces visible.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm really uncomfortable. Just kidding. Hey.
Don't be.
I am your co-host, Steve.
And I'm your other co-host, Alicia. And we come out every Monday to Steve's house. Steve is my boss for the podcast. And we record in his studio space. And it's a really fun time. And our podcast really isn't about anything in particular. We take questions from our audience members. We try to be pretty active on Facebook and Twitter. And we have our own website actually too.
It's yourplaindonuts.com. That's YOUR plaindonuts.com. So if you're interested in checking that out, you can find a whole history of episodes, 22 long.
Yeah.
So we're recording today with Jacob, NightGhost49, the infamous YouTuber and streamer, infamous for doing horrible things on the Western Trail.
Mm-hmm.
Like Billy the Kid. I don't know.
Yeah, like practicing violin with my feet, and it's really just a horrible situation, actually.
Hey.
That's crazy. That's wild.
Crap, I shouldn't say that. People will expect it. I don't do those things.
No. Alicia's the only one here that plays violin.
But does she do it with her feet?
Sometimes.
Hashtag get famous.
When I'm alone.
We're also here.
That got weird.
My wife is in the room. She's going to be wrangling her desk. So in case you were wondering if there's some clickety-clacks happening. And also Otto is here.
Yeah, Otto's in the room. This is the room where it happens, Steve. Shout out to Lin-Manuel Miranda. If it's your first time here.
If it's your first time here, we talk about Lin-Manuel Miranda every episode.
Every episode.
And we tweet at him, and he's probably muted us by now.
But that's okay.
So, cool. Well, the normal thing we do is we just talk. We sort of like go around like campfire style and talk about how our week's been since last week.
Okay.
Just tell a story or whatever. Yeah. I feel like a little manic right now because I just had to put everything together in 10 minutes.
Well,
and so I'm like,
should we maybe have our guest talk a little bit more about himself and what he does? Because I actually am not too familiar with game streaming, so this will be a good refresher for me on what exactly you do every day or week or month or whatever bi-monthly.
Whenever I do the things that I do that are strained online.
Exactly.
So I'm Jake, and also NightGhost49, whatever you want to call me, or that guy on the internet. I run a YouTube channel, just NightGhost49, mostly gaming content. In fact, almost exclusively just gaming content, kind of let's plays and walkthroughs of a variety of different types of games. And I also do live streaming on Twitch. I've done live streaming on YouTube a little bit, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I live stream every Saturday and Monday night. What is it? I started around 8:30 or a little earlier sometimes, Mountain Time. Sometimes I'm quiet compared. Sorry, they're saying my chat's open and they just said something to me directly about my audio. I'm not as close to the mic as normal, so I'm changing that. I've been doing that for...
Get on it.
Gosh. Let me think. I've been doing YouTube for 7 years or something. I don't even remember. And I've been streaming for about 2 years now.
Okay.
So we have a decent following of people that are online with us. I have a handful of moderators that help me moderate chat. They support me with what games to play and kind of managing that whole situation. In a gist, that's what I do. I do it for fun. I work actually the same place that Steve works. We're not quite in the same positions, but I do that for my day to day. And then at night I come home and I either, if I'm not live streaming, I'm usually recording something and then rendering it and getting it ready and uploading it for YouTube for my adoring fans. So that's in a nutshell kind of what I do.
Are you comfortable briefly just going over? I don't know. I'm always curious about like, oh, how many subs does this person have? What's their like heart count or whatever on Twitch? Like, are you comfortable talking about that stuff?
Oh yeah, dude, it's all public anyway. I don't care.
Okay.
You could go to Social Blade and type in NightGhost49. You could see both Twitch. You could see YouTube. I think they do Instagram as well. Anyway, on YouTube, I just passed the 2,000 mark for subscribers. I'm about 2,200 now. That number is continually rising. Ever since I've started. When I first started, it was a bit of an up and down. But ever since I started streaming, it's been constant, at least an uptick all the time. And as you can see, it's probably a very slow growth over 7 years.
Well, it seems like the last time I checked was maybe a month or two ago before recently. And it was about 1950 or so then. Yeah. And so now you're at 2,200. So you're actually gaining greater than one subscriber a day. You know, You're probably at a rate of 10 a day or so.
Yeah. And I attribute a lot of that to other,
maybe like 5 a day.
Yeah, it actually fluctuates. Some days I'll get like 30 or 40. And what happens there is usually somebody will share a video, and it gets a lot of traction. And sometimes they don't. So I do attribute the majority of my success to, lately I've been asking at the beginning of, I'll do like a series of videos, or I'll start a new game, and I'll say, hey, beginning of the video, this is the way YouTube works. If you guys could share it, like it, and throw a comment in, that helps out a lot, because all the traction that you get actually help the visibility of a series. So yeah, I'm about 2,200 there. I'm looking at my numbers right now for Twitch. I'm at 725 followers on Twitch, and I usually have between 5 and 30, 40. Actually, that's a little generous. 5 to 20 or 30 people concurrently watching when I do live stream.
That's cool.
Yeah, I jumped on the other night and it was at roughly 20.
Yeah. Well, we were playing Oxygen Not Included, a game that came out from the makers of Don't Starve. Some fantastic independent developers. It's been a lot of fun actually jumping into that. Gosh, I could literally go so many different directions right now. I don't want to like mess up your format.
No.
Because we could talk about partnered to not partnered. We could talk about, how much effort I put into each video and how much I do for streaming, because they're actually a little bit different setup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure we'll probably get into that a little bit more as we go along.
I don't want to dive too far in, because I know you guys have a format. After watching the last couple podcasts, I like that you guys kind of banter back and forth about your week.
Yeah. You better not try and disrupt our flow, man.
Whoa.
It's very important.
Steve's got a really sick white guy flow.
Back off.
I have to say, though, your voice is really great, and I would want you to narrate, like, my funeral. Yeah. That's really weird.
Please narrate.
Can you narrate my funeral? I think that would be cool.
You know what? Put me down. How about this? In a world where plain donuts is actually a podcast.
Oh, that's so great. We should have that as, like, our little opening,
man, I'm going to cut that out right now.
Just do it. It's going to be, like, a blank space.
Will you quickly say, like, just off the top of your head, and I'm sorry if this is like stretching your comedy muscles, but just do an In a World commercial for Plain Donuts. Take like 10 seconds or something, and I'll use it as the intro. Let's do it.
Oh, you want me to do a commercial? Okay.
Just quickly. It doesn't even have to make sense. I just want to hear your voice. Okay. I like it a lot.
Welcome to Plain Donuts. If you like glazed chocolate or sprinkles, you're not welcomed. Come here and be a great D-hole with our two co-hosts, Steve and Alicia. Hopefully I got everyone's name right, because hopefully I don't screw that up. Plain Donuts.
That was amazing.
Nice.
That was so good.
Beautiful.
I love that so much.
So anyway.
Light applause.
You guys are cracking me up.
So, okay, now that we've had an introduction to Jacob, did you want to talk about your week at all? How things have been going for you very recently? Or do you just want to do like broad brush discussion about you? And so we don't get into any uncomfortable personal details.
I've been a bit of a freak at work. I've been openly protesting communicable diseases. by
That's
wearing
so
a mask.
actually. I really need to know more about this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I thought I would phrase it that way to be a little weird.
So you
Good
two work
job.
together. Are you on the same team?
No, we're on
No,
separate
Not separate teams?
We're
Okay,
on
so
different
Steve is my boss, but he is not your boss.
No.
So
Well, and it wouldn't even be boss or
Yeah, we're like
different responsibilities. We work together.
Yeah.
I said I wouldn't look at chat, but I just did, and somebody told me I could have did that intro as Martha, and you'll hear Martha later. She hurts my voice. Like
okay,
crazy.
wow. This is so
Anyway.
great.
I know, it's very exciting.
But
all
recently,
the possibilities of
I'll go back to your
things we
question.
could do.
Recently, I just got over bronchitis and influenza.
Oh,
So,
at the
as you
same
can tell,
time, huh?
That wrecked me, right? Like my voice is my job in a lot of ways, and my voice is YouTube and Twitch. So I've actually not been doing a lot lately, and it's driving me insane. I'll literally sit at my computer at night where I'm like, well, I've got to record some Banished, and we should probably do some Fallout. And I'm like, and I can't talk at all. And it's been horrible. But other than that, everything's been great. Work's been good.
Yeah.
Wifey's been good. It's a little warmer here than normal, so a lot of people like that. And the weather's cleared up and the inversion's gone, so I can actually breathe a lot better. So generally speaking, I've been kind of trying to relax, pump out a few more videos, and kind of ramp myself up. So it's been a good week to do that, to just kind of chill at home a little bit for a few days, record some other ones, and really just have fun. I sometimes I get in a rut of, I've got to play and I've got to do a video. And while I'm rendering, I'm either going to research something or I'm going to play something else. And it's been nice to not have that much. So that, I guess that's probably the uptick of what's been going on lately. So I've been doing good. How about you guys?
Awesome.
Sick.
You want to go first, Steve?
Sure. I was trying to think about it. I wasn't listening to Jacob at all.
Did you say sick, like ironically, as in, oh, sick? He's been sick.
Both. Yeah, like it's a multi-layered joke. For
your
me to
joke is so good.
Sick.
Yeah, thank you. Oh man, killing right now with the audience.
The comedy is on point tonight.
So anyway, this week has been a little bit of a blur. I can't really say a whole lot about it. Because I don't, it's just been kind of like a normal week. Did you know that when you drive, like, have you had these moments where you look back on your drive after you've arrived at your location and you're like,
don't remember how you got there?
Yeah,
like,
I don't remember.
How did I not kill anybody?
Yeah.
Like, this is what my brain has just taken over completely. I'm on autopilot. Somehow I'm stopping and I'm not hitting pedestrians and I'm not like running over the curb or anything like that. Yeah, that's bizarre.
So what happens is, essentially, your brain reviews what you've just done and goes, oh, we do this literally every day and nothing important happened, so we're just gonna delete that part. And I feel like that's this whole last week for me. Like, I hardly even know what happened.
Wow.
Not really. I know what happened.
Your brain just chose not to keep it as a
there's just nothing super important. I mean, I asked a question about love and got some answers, and I've been thinking about a new YouTube video for that, but I haven't put it all together yet. And in the meantime, I ordered this oh my gosh, there was a noise in here. Anyway, I ordered this like little lighting rig just because I was noticing that I was having to color correct my videos really hard and try to make sure my face didn't look like super dark. And I was like, well, some lighting would probably help with that and would give me more options for like color grading and that kind of thing. So anyway, in my boring story, Jacob has put on a wonderful Russian hat.
This is great.
He's doing some props over on the Nyko side.
Like I said,
I'm not sure what you're referring to. I had this on the whole time.
We, like we said before, we're really big prop comics here.
Yeah, a lot of prop comedy, a lot of slapstick.
Hey, you all have tons of props. I have to compete, all right? This is a competition. This isn't a real podcast.
Yeah, really good faces. Like, if you like faces, like interesting, emotional faces, that's what our podcast is really about. That's
your unique little like niche, right?
Yeah, our niche is people who
interesting. Very interesting group, right?
So anyway,
Right?
that's really it. I don't have a whole lot to say. It's been kind of a...
I kind of feel you on that one because...
Oh, I could say part of it is we got our tax return money.
And make it rain.
And then I got paid at the same time, and so I just haven't been stressed about money for the last few days, and so that is sort of like a weird driver in my life sometimes where I'm like, I gotta make my money right. And so like right now at this moment, the money is okay. And so there's nothing to stress about. So I'm like, well, my week was good. I just did whatever. I got Melissa some tickets to, what date is it? Valentine's Day was... Tuesday. Yes, that's right. We haven't talked about it yet because we recorded Monday. All right, sorry, I'm timelining. Anyway, so I got my wife some tickets to Matilda the musical. We're gonna go see that next Sunday.
Is that at the Capitol Theater?
It's at the Eccles Theater, the new one downtown in Salt Lake City, which is where this podcast is from, kind of.
The one on Main?
Yeah.
A big honking one that took 10 years to build. Oh, it actually took about a year and a half, 2 years.
It's a big honking one. Yeah. So anyway, that's been my week. It was fun. Melissa really had the most wonderful time on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Is that true? She says no.
All right.
So sources.
She does not believe you and goes right to the source. Is that really what happened?
I was saying that for Melissa's benefit, actually, because I like to hassle her when she's around.
So you guys can't see any of this, but there's like 4 animals in here right now, and I'm really excited about that. That has nothing to do with anything.
Steve and Otto, or no?
Well, let's see. Can you even see Otto? You can see Otto's head maybe a little bit over here. Otto, poke your head up a little bit so we can see it. This is really exciting for our podcast listeners.
This is great. If you're an audio-only listener...
the podcast, can you see this?
Step your game up.
Yeah, gosh. My week was weird. Kind of the same way. It just felt really long. Like, work was kind of... Like, those days where you literally sit in your computer and you just work... your 8 hours and you don't really get up and you don't really eat lunch and you just kind of do your thing. That was last week for me. And then on Saturday, Otto and I were deciding, hey, we should go on an adventure. Let's go somewhere cool. We went all the way to Evanston, Wyoming, folks. And let me tell you what, there is nothing there.
There's nothing there.
And I'm sorry if you live there or are from there. I know at least one person. Sorry,
they
Hannah.
know.
You know that Evanston is boring, and that's why you don't live there anymore. Because it's weird, and it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like Smallville, the town.
Evanston is where you go if you want to buy like porn, I guess, or
fireworks,
liquor. Yeah,
it's like a less exciting Las Vegas.
Yeah.
On the opposite side of Utah.
Way less exciting Las Vegas.
I would have never described Evanston.
We thought about going to Vegas, but instead we decided Evanston.
Evanston is the place to go. It's a lot closer. It's only an hour away from where we are. But yeah, everything closed at 2:00 on Saturday. Like, we went to this weird thrift shop called New to You, which was inside this old post office building, which is kind of interesting.
That's cool.
But besides that, it was just kind of bizarre. Like, all of their historic downtown area was completely deserted. There were no like occupied buildings. Everything was for rent, and I thought I could just buy this whole town. I could buy all of Evanston and own Evanston, Wyoming. I don't know what I would do with it, obviously, because there's nothing. There or
something, right? Like,
cheap. Great. The Salt Lake Tribune now featured in Evanston, Wyoming.
Oh, you just said
I just said where I worked. I'm so sorry.
I'll bleep
it. I doxed myself.
Don't worry, I'll bleep it. I'll bleep it for the future.
Except it's on live stream, so that's whatever.
It's out there now.
I work at the Salt Lake Tribune, you guys.
Everybody,
I'll say it again.
Don't tell, okay?
I'm not bleeping it now that you've said it twice.
I said it twice.
It's cool. It's fine. They don't mind.
The video dies after 30 days on stream, so it's not like it's going to live
forever. Internet doesn't live forever. Everybody knows that.
I don't know if the internet wants to live forever.
I mean, I'm talking about Evanston, Wyoming, so I'm pretty sure everyone just tuned out immediately after that. So
it's like,
well, they were like Evanston and didn't realize where it was, and then you said Wyoming, and they're like, oh, Cowboys, I guess, maybe. Yeah. Actually, I don't know if anybody would even make that
there's
connection.
There's not even like any cool like they have a museum, but it's not like a normal museum. It's just kind of an abandoned building. So I don't know what it's. I don't know. It's weird.
It's not actually an officially
museum.
sponsored museum. Someone just rented the space and set up a bunch of crap.
Probably if I lived there, that's what I would do.
I don't think, what's funny is I don't think there's any restrictions on like whether or not you can start a museum. Like
that's true.
You could just be like, well, I filled out the paperwork and now I have a museum.
Yeah. We should create something called the Podcast Historical Society.
I'm sure something like that already exists.
But it's going to be stationed in Evanston, Wyoming.
Oh, man.
And it's going to be great. And people are going to go there and we're going to charge $20. And we'll give them like a little audio set to wear.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just going to play like our podcasts while they walk through like this abandoned warehouse. And there's nothing in there because it's actually like an avant-garde like art piece like Shia LaBeouf is doing.
Yeah, it's avant-garde in the fact that we didn't want to...
Yeah.
I'm in front of a green screen. We could do this.
We could green screen.
That's okay.
You could meme you.
I don't want to do that too much right now.
My hair's not long enough
only
for
a
that
little.
yet.
Well, cool. That's anybody else have anything to say about the recent history of life? Do we want to talk about politics? Nope.
No. Why would you even say that?
Well, I'd have to remind myself that I should not talk about politics. Not ever. Not even
Steve,
once.
So actually,
don't talk about politics.
On that note, you all had an episode. Last episode was supposed to touch on that more, right? Politics?
Oh, kind of. Presidents mostly, but nobody asked any presidential questions.
Which I'm actually kind of grateful for because I'm getting I'm feeling really oversaturated right now.
Everybody's just
and everything is the worst, and I'm just kind of over it.
Well, like the entire United States of America is just
exploding.
Over
basically,
yeah.
Everybody's like, yeah, president doesn't mean anything anymore, obviously.
What is a president?
What is life now?
What is life now?
How does our republic even work?
It doesn't, Steve. It doesn't.
So anyway... Sorry, I said I wouldn't talk about politics.
I thought there was a dog on the floor. No, wait, that's a dude. So I think Otto just came into view.
There is actually a dog. Actually, let me see if I can get...
There are some dogs, yeah.
Or it's the Secret Service watching.
Oh, hi. Hi, Penny.
We have all kinds of animals and stuff.
I'm really sorry. That looks really uncomfortable.
Oh, jeez.
This is Penny.
That's my dog, Penny.
This is Steve's dog.
Penny?
She just got her hair cut, yeah.
Oh,
really
she looks
cute.
fabulous.
Thanks.
Yeah, you look good.
I'm
you have
saying
anything to
thank
say?
you for her. You're just going to hear some sniffs in the microphone.
Great. This is some good, like, ASMR quality.
Oh, what a great idea for a YouTube channel, like Puppy ASMR.
Does that exist yet? We just made that. No one steal that. Nobody steal that. That's ours.
You just need to get like a...
Trademarked?
Like a really good, condenser microphone, turn up the gain really high, and then just put a bunch of puppies next to it.
I would watch that all day.
Oh, man. It would all just be like...
Yeah.
And it would be really bad. I don't know if you could get the benefit of my mouth noises.
Hashtag that's somebody's
on the
fetish.
stream, but
not
yeah,
my
I watched
kink,
the last
but
couple
somebody's
episodes.
kink.
I know that hashtag now.
not my kink. Somebody's kink, though, maybe.
Somebody's kink.
That's
and
right. That's right.
I don't kink shame you, so there you go.
If puppies are your kink, gross.
Yeah,
if you just mean by kink you mean I like to watch puppies on YouTube.
That's like your aesthetic,
perfect.
right? Is
That's
that what
aesthetic.
people say? Like that's my aesthetic is puppy noises.
Okay.
I don't know.
I will, if
So
I could
anyway.
say one thing real quick.
Yes.
Going back to that other
Please
point.
do
I've
interrupt this.
What's that?
I said, please do interrupt this.
Oh, okay. I've taken a personal. Oh gosh, someone just linked puppy ASMR in chat.
Oh.
Holy crap! I'm not clicking on that. The claps. Anyway, I'm ignoring you, chat, for a minute. Basically, so the whole political.
Of course, someone
I
would
won't get
Google
anything,
that as
I
we
promise.
talked about it.
I'm going to talk about what I am doing right now. I
Okay,
decided about a week and a half ago that I was going to immerse myself and figure out what's real and what's not. So I've been watching every news network. And then when our president had a press conference, I didn't watch the snippets yet, right? I literally watched the hour and 15 minutes of him addressing the media and the nation. And then I watched it unfold on all the networks. So I will say it's a lot of time. But
Yeah.
It sounds really agonizing, actually.
it's actually not. Let me tell you why. I got the truth, and I could judge it for myself without being influenced by anybody else. And then I got to see the way other networks are reacting and their angles and how they snip things and they don't snip things and who's really talking the talk and actually discussing the issues. So, yeah, it's wild because, you know, there's never not something to report about these days. But it's just been really liberating to just say, I'm not just going to ingest my media from somebody and all my ideals. I'm going to look at it myself, and then I'm going to see what other people have to say and what commentary happens, and I can like just get it myself. So I found that that's a little more like I can handle the situation a lot better, and it's made me more informed. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say
That's
about
cool.
that.
I just only listen to Philip DeFranco, and that's fine with me.
He's pretty impartial.
No,
he's pretty impartial.
he
I
is.
respect what he
And
does.
I was just kidding. That's not all I do. I can't.
That's all Steve does.
I can't do it because I just get too invested, and it gets too emotional for me to think about politics.
I think the same thing. I just get too. I know for myself, as much as I would love to be as non-angled, you know, non-partial to anything, I have too much emotion involved in politics, and
Everybody
I know
does.
myself well enough to be like, I just need to remove myself from the situation completely.
Yeah.
Man.
Speaking of that, this doesn't have to do with politics, but it does have to do with lots of emotion. Steve posted something about vaccines.
Oh, yeah.
And oh my gosh, the popcorn that I got out
No wonder
to read
my brain
those
just deleted
comments.
the last week.
I was like, I kind of hopped in for a minute, and I was like, nope, I can't. This is too much, and so I left.
Train wreck's a little too gory.
This is it's a train wreck, but there's too many bodies out for me to watch right now.
This is a problem I have just with the internet in general, and we've mentioned it before when I got attacked by flat earthers. But like
what?
Flat earthers from the flat Earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said Flanders or
no,
I don't know. Homer Simpson.
Philanderers.
Flat Earth philanderers.
Philanderers that are after me for my body. No, flat earthers. The internet is a weird thing because it sort of like forces you to give time to people whose ideas and like mindset is insane. And so like normally normally I just walk through my life like, oh cool, every day is cool, I talk to people who think like me, and that's fine. But I tend to be a generally accepting person and like bring all kinds of people into my life. So like, I have some friends that are like anti-vaxxers, and they decided it was time for them to go
time to shine, like our time to shine. And some people who I knew who are mutual friends of ours, I'm like, you're an anti-vaxxer? Like,
you like
what?
outed them.
Like, no, this is too much.
Yeah,
but
it's weird.
Yeah, I got him.
You should see the chat on my end.
Oh, geez.
Oh, no.
So many goofy comments. I love it.
Oh, good. So anyway, it's horrible. The internet is a horrible place, and no one should ever go there.
Yeah,
it's horrible, and it's wonderful. There are some wonderful little spots.
I recently saw like this picture on Facebook. Somebody had it as their what is that header?
Cover photo?
Their cover photo. Thank you. But it was like an old Mac, like when the internet was first coming out, and it had like this dialogue window that said, hey, come to the internet, you'll get your own email address, you'll get all these things, you'll get to access to all the world's knowledge or whatever. Isn't the internet what you bought a Mac for anyway? And then it had 3 options, and one of the options was, yes, bring me to the internet. The next option was, tell me more about the internet. And the third option was, I'm not ready for the internet. And I was like, that's me.
I'm not ready.
That's
Take
me, right
me
there.
back. Reverse.
I'm not ready. I am not ready for internet.
I'm not ready at all for the internet.
I don't think any of us are ready for the internet. So anyway.
Well, hello again, Plain Donuts listeners. This is your co-host, Steve, just back again in the middle of the podcast to interrupt and say thank you very much for listening, as I always say. And just to give you a little bit more information about today's episode, Jacob, or Night Ghost 49, was on this episode. And if you want to find any of his links, we'll link those on our website, yourplaindonuts.com. Or you can Google Night Ghost 49 and find him on Twitter or Twitch or YouTube. All those things are just one word, Night Ghost 49. So, but yeah, always probably the easiest way to get a hold of him for now is to go to yourplaindonuts.com and find episode 23. And that'll be the episode with all his links and everything. And you can get to YouTube or Twitch or Twitter or whatever from there. Yourplaindonuts.com is also the place you can find all of our social media links. So if you want to follow us on Twitter or like our page on Facebook or follow our Instagram or whatever, you can find all that, like I said, at yourplaindonuts.com. That's YOUR plaindonuts.com. Another thing you can do that is just a really tangible help, if you want to help the podcast increase in listenership or just get more people to see that we exist, you can go leave us a review and a rating on iTunes. That's kind of the way that iTunes uses to figure out who to put on their featured page or whatever, which would be a huge boon to us if that ended up happening. So that'd be really cool if you could do that. The other way, and probably the best way you can help out the podcast, is just go share it with a friend. Send somebody a link to yourplaindonuts.com, or if you want them to listen to a specific episode, just go grab the link for that from yourplaindonuts.com. Anyway, I think that's about all I have to say. If you counted the number of times I said yourplaindonuts.com, it was probably in the hundreds. So anyway, that's going to be it for this middle interlude. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Normally what we do is take a bunch of questions from the audience, and we have a few from our audience that have accumulated. I think I only have 2 questions, and I don't know if you got any.
Okay. I did not. And I think, let's see. So we posted about this a couple times, and a friend of mine, Nate, asked Jacob what you post on YouTube, which we kind of already went over a little bit. So
if you want to talk any more about like the content that you post or sort of like the angle that you're going for or anything like that, we can, or we can move on to the next question if you feel like we already covered that.
What do I post? Yeah, I mean, I can go over that. I mostly do. I tend to pick maybe. Okay, if I was smart, I would just pick 2 games. With the amount of time I have, you have to like allocate a certain amount. And the goal is to generally post at least once a day. That makes people come back. You want them to make it like an actual channel and a community where like, oh, I'm going to go check out Night Ghost today. What's he have up? Okay, cool. I'll go check that out. For me, what I post every day, currently I'm doing a game called Banished, which is like a city management kind of game. You bring in people, and I always have to have, and all my peeps are seeing the pipes, but they know it anyway. It's not a big deal. You always have to have something that's different. Otherwise, why are people coming? Right.
Right.
I don't edit my videos heavily. I actually very rarely even edit them. I just record and I talk through that and we just go there. So my thing on like this game Banished, excuse me, the modding community has picked that up and they've made these huge mods. So I use that and I show people how to use that mod or how not to because I screw up and kill everyone. And there's a mechanic in the game where you can like bring in nomads, which are like free labor. And I pull off of I kind of make it a bit of a story thing. And sometimes I'll talk about, I used to play Skyrim. So I'm like, oh, they got banished from Skyrim. So they're going to come in here. Or I'll say, well, our gene pool's incredibly limited. So we need nomads. So we're going to bring them in. But there's big negatives for that. Like they can bring disease. It can really screw up your food. And so my thing is I play on speed 10, which no one does. and I always accept nomads no matter what, like pretty much always. And people come in the comments and you would not believe how much they just freak out. They're like, why on earth? Turn down the game speed. No one can play that fast, and don't accept nomads. You're insane. And they like get into all these numbers about it. So I've been doing that. And then I've also been doing Fallout, which, you know, is like a post-apocalyptic game. But what I do with those in my little niche there is I create a character. And right now I'm playing Milos, who used to be a Russian spy, and then he was cryogenically frozen, and now he's in the year 2270, I think. So Milos plays in the wasteland, and he's establishing communist Russia in the Commonwealth near Boston. It's beautiful, you know. So I have all these little settlements that I build up, and that's what I've been doing recently. So that's a little bit of what's going on. Then there's other little things. I tend to either, if I'm playing a role-playing game, I make a big story, and then I play with that. If I'm doing a strategy game, I take an angle of it and I just run with that. Do
you feel like you have a niche for games that are kind of like your sort of the best videos come from this kind of game, or is does it just vary depending on the day and what's happening in the game and whatever?
It depends on the communities, and it depends on when I get going on it, to put it that way. What I mean, like Banished, a lot of people stopped playing it. And I kept playing it, and I started doing the mods. So it's myself and a handful of other YouTubers. I'm not the biggest one of them, but if you search it, I come up pretty quick. That's one of my things, and I really just enjoy the game. And because I play it so chaotically, people kind of like that. And then the other series that historically has been done really well is actually Skyrim. And I started a series called The Vengeful Falmer, and it's like this side race that I modded into the game. And I play him a certain way, and I actually developed a whole story in my head before I even did anything. So I let things kind of unravel, because Skyrim's that way. You can play that game for hours. You may have a mission, but I don't fast travel, so I tend to walk everywhere, and I have these random encounters with people, and it takes me one direction, I get distracted, and then I finally go back. And people really enjoyed that, and I had some twists and turns at different parts of the quest line. And then probably the other game that has been really... it's people are correcting my spelling or my pronunciation in chat. I'm ignoring you, chat. Now they're gonna get offended. Yeah, how do you like them apples? But also I played a game called 7 Days to Die, and that one was the one I did on Twitch mostly. And the reason I did that is we have a wonderful community on Twitch. We joined together. One of the guys, whose name is Kludge, that's his online name. He sponsored the server, and we all came together. And so I would live stream our creations, and by ours I mean theirs, because I suck at doing things and they're amazing at it. But then we'd spawn in all these hordes of zombies and see if we could defend them and things like that. So when talking about what things work, it's really a lot of it's timing. Persistence and consistency is king always, in YouTube and in Twitch, and doing something different is key.
So cool. Like I said, I kind of want to get into some of my own questions later, because I feel like there are some interesting avenues to explore. But we have two questions from Plain Donuts Facebook page. It's interesting. My sister and her husband both asked a question, and they were the only ones. Chris said, "What is the minimum amount of equipment to have a successful stream, i.e., cost, recommended gear, time investment, balance with real job and family? I guess for you specifically, what is success, or what does it take to have success, and what goes into that in terms of balance for you, and also equipment wise? Like, what do you think the sort of technical aspect of it? What do you think is needed for somebody to have a good stream? Let's say I wanted to just go start streaming today."
Well, I'm glad you asked a very simple question, Steve.
Yeah. Let's start off with the first
I was anticipating this one because I saw that one, though.
Sorry.
Okay, we'll go with Chris's question. Minimum amount of equipment to have a successful stream. We'll start with that one.
Okay, cool. You have to make a couple decisions, but if we're going super minimum, you really don't need a camera. A camera adds a personal touch to the stream and allows people to connect with you a lot better. I'll say it because everybody in the community kind of knows it. Arguably, girls tend to do better because it's a lot of guys on stream, and they would like to watch a girl play. And having a girl that likes video games sometimes to some people it seems like a unicorn. It's really not. There's a ton of female gamers, and they're represented quite well on Twitch. But you don't necessarily need a camera. I would say audio and having a game that you feel like you can run really well is king, and then the internet after that. And the reason I say that is if you've got a good internet connection, but your machine runs like garbage, you're not going to do anything. If you have a really good game that you can get a good picture out of, and you've got good audio, you could get a new ISP. You know, you can work on getting higher speed or whatever. So, talking about minimum, my mic is so important. You know, if I go back to my old videos before I started streaming, my mic was not good. It was just a generic Logitech, you know, plug into my headset microphone. It really wasn't that great, but it did the job, and I got a little experience kind of figuring that out. What I have right now is an Audio Technica. Oh, where's the number on it? Oh, I was going to write this down. Dang it.
Is it the 2020?
I think so. If you go on Amazon and you type in Audio Technica microphone, there are two that come up, two major ones. And I got the one with the USB because it's easy. That's why I got it, because there's another one that uses normal audio cables. I don't recommend that unless you already have the setup or you're willing to spend a lot of money to go into it. So that one, less than $100. I think it's 80, and sometimes it's on sale for less than that. You can get it for like 60. That one is a fantastic mic. Or you don't necessarily have to go that high a quality. You could go a little lower and go like a blue Yeti, I think is it now. But there's a few new. See, you've got it right there, and that one is better. Thank you, Vanna, for showcasing the Blue Yeti.
And this podcast episode is sponsored by Blue Yeti.
Sponsored by
no, it's not.
Blue Yeti.
Come on.
No, I just keep saying that, and hopefully maybe someday
Like,
it'll be true.
maybe it'll be true. Like, maybe one day we'll say...
I'm using that book, The Secret.
Oh,
you know, if you like believe in something hard enough, it'll come true.
Blue
so
sponsors
Blue Yeti sponsors us.
Blue, and that Blue is a sponsor of our podcast, and for some reason we only have a Blue Yeti, even though Blue makes ridiculous microphones that if they were a sponsor, we could have way better mics than a Blue Yeti. Anyway, sorry. I believe
that's
it's
actually
the
what I was about to
2020,
point out is that like that microphone is actually made more for podcast. And there's different types of microphones and things like that. That's why I generally recommend the Audio Technica with 2020 USB. It's a nice directional mic. It's really good quality for the price you pay, and you just plug it in, and the drivers usually pick it up. It's a lot less hassle. Now, for computers, it really just depends because computers are kind of all over the place. I bought a generic one from Costco. It's a ZT. It's just a sort of generic thing, but I made sure it had a lot of space in it. I bought that. It's an i7, like 4th gen Intel processor. It came with a generic graphics card, and I spent a bit of money to upgrade the graphics card, and everything kind of like just fell into place there. Excuse me. I prefer a two monitor setup because in my one screen I can actually have my Twitch chat, and I can actually see the stream live and know if something goes wrong, and I can have my recording software up as well. And then in my left or my right hand screen I have the game, and I use a program called OBS, Open Broadcast Software. It's free. You can support them if you want, but you don't have to. I give them a lot of advertisement too, just because I talk about it a lot. But that's free, and it's easy to set up. There's tons of tutorials. So software-wise, I use OBS. That's pretty much it.
OBS, when I first looked at it, it was kind of like difficult, but
it was very
recently,
difficult.
When I started streaming, I was like, I'm going to do this for a little while and see what happens, and then I got tired of it, which is the story of my life. But I wasn't tired of it, really. There were just other things that demanded my attention. Anyway, I was like, OBS is sort of the thing that everybody uses. It's actually a lot easier to use now. Like, it's really simple. It's pretty much plug and play at this point. Just totally say, I want you to stream this program and maybe also this camera, and then take this as an audio input, and you're done. And you can set up the screen however you want. It's really easy and nice. I like it. Yeah. So good shout on that OBS.
Yeah. I mean, I've used XSplit before, which is one of the more popular ones. And that's a monthly service that you pay for. It's like $5 a month. I paid in 3-month increments. It's a good program, but their support and the direction that they were going as a company, I didn't like. And they kept breaking things as they did constant updates. Whereas OBS, I knew was open source. I knew I was going to get some changes, but generally I could control it and it'd be okay. I don't really have that many issues. So if I wanted a camera, though, I got the Logitech. There's a Logitech. I'm looking at it right now.
Whoa, it's like you're making eye contact with us.
Hey. I'm like really creepily staring at you two right now.
Oh, man.
Hello, Clarice.
You sort of looked like Markiplier for a second. Although I don't think you're as ripped as Markiplier.
You know, I'm not.
Is Markiplier ripped?
Strangely enough, that man is ripped.
Is he like is it randomly like Conan O'Brien, where Conan O'Brien is like strangely?
Yeah.
ripped?
So I don't know. One day Markiplier was doing this thing where he did a roast me on Reddit.
Oh no!
And somebody said something about how he wasn't manly or something, and he like took off his shirt and had all these muscles, and I was like, I don't think muscles equate to manliness in my view, but that's okay, Markiplier. You do you, bro.
You know, I'll say something good about him. He's a little zany. A lot of people before I let my hair grow out accused him and I of looking really similar and sounding very similar, and I took that as a compliment, even though I'm older than him. He sounds like me.
You were here first.
Why should I change my name? He's the one who sucks.
But he raises.
Sorry, that was.
Geez, wait till we get all the people who are gonna.
What was it?
Oh, there's a quote in Office Space. There's a character named Michael. What's the singer's name?
Bublé.
Michael Bolton.
I don't know.
Yeah. The character's name is Michael Bolton. This is before Michael Bublé. And like people are like, you should just go by Mike or like change your name. And he's like, why should I change my name? He's the one who sucks. Like, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Somebody in chat told me the camera. It's a Logitech C920. There you go.
Thanks, person on chat.
Nice.
Yeah, chat.
It's kind of nice to have like random people chatting us.
Markiplier's actually raised a lot of money for charity, and so I actually have a lot of respect for him. And he started that way on YouTube. That was his thing. So he's from like Ohio, and there's a children's hospital there. And before he blew up and became this big YouTuber of like 4 million now subscribers he has?
Probably.
Yeah.
He had already raised like $50,000 in support money for these charities, and so he's a genuine nice person. He's insane sometimes, but he's a genuine guy. So I always try to remind people of that, because a lot of people only see the crazy side and they don't see the fact that now he's raised like almost $1 million for charity. It's kind of nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Markiplier's great. And I don't particularly love his style, but I don't fault people for what they like to entertain themselves with, you know, like, and his voice is awesome. So
he has a great
I'm
voice.
pretty sure there's like some like Markiplier Tumblr page that's like Markiplier aesthetic, because I follow the Game Grumps aesthetic page on Tumblr, and it's wild because they don't even post. It's like some person in Stockholm or something, some Swedish person who runs this blog, and they post about Eurovision and like all these bizarre things, and they had like this weird I don't know, Sonic the Hedgehog with Game Grumps like fan fiction sort of setup going on. It was weird. Yeah, you guys, if whoever is on the chat or whatever, take a chance to look at this Tumblr page, because it's
risky
it's
click
like
of the day.
Yeah, if you want to check it out, I promise it's safe-ish for work. I mean, as far as I remember, safe-ish for work.
There's some crazy Game Grumps stuff out there, man.
Slightly questionable.
They literally have a portion of their fan base who draws like Game Grumps fantasy porn, basically, which is really
what's the
weird
rule?
to
like
me.
if it's on the internet, there's
Whoa.
And they're like, Game Grumps are like very open to that kind of thing. They're like, whatever, that's cool, I guess. You know, like me, I'd be like, it's really awkward.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Remember when we said, you know, if we made a sex tape, that would be like a really terrible idea.
And then I made a video on it.
Yeah. We did not make a sex tape. Let me clarify that really quick. Steve made a kinetic typography video of that portion of our podcast recording.
Yeah.
It was not a sex tape.
Yeah.
No sex tapes have been made. So,
you know, I probably would look at somebody drawing porn of me and just be like, not fat enough. Try again. You know, like, be pretty bad.
I need you to round those edges. No.
You obviously over-fantasize
give
my
them a
body.
nice rounding.
I don't know what I would do if someone drew porn of me.
Like one of their French girls?
This is not, typically our podcast is pretty,
Whatever. It's
safe
whatever.
for everything, but this time this is like a 18 plus, sexy podcast, which I guess we kind of set ourselves up for that in the beginning. So.
Yeah, we do sometimes.
So I think I answered the question.
Yeah, I think that was great. You did answer the question.
Equipment, set up and go.
Okay, so there was another part of this question that I think has really interesting aspects to it, where he talks about like balancing with your job and your family and stuff. Yep. I would wonder, so you just describe how you do that, but also like, do you feel like because you have like a real grown-up life, you have sort of you have less opportunity to make things happen in terms of like making it work with YouTube and Twitch and that kind of thing? Do you feel like you are maybe just you don't have the capability to make the sacrifices that somebody who was just single and was like, I'm just going to do this now had?
Yeah.
And do you think you might have advantages over that person too, in terms of like gaining popularity and an audience and stuff like that?
Yeah, totally. And I'll address that latter part of the question right now. I'm just going to be real, and this isn't a tooting my own horn. It's just an opportunity thing. If I was independently wealthy, even for a solid 6 months, like if I saved up for that amount of time, I could have been a lot more. My YouTube channel could have been a lot bigger. There were 2 or 3 key moments throughout the history of the last like 7 years where if I would have said, okay, I'm getting some traction and I need to grab this, if I could have stopped working and just done that, I would have gotten a lot more. Because there have been several points in my life where I've got 2 little hooligan children that they're hooligans. And when they were born, it screwed up school. Like I was working. Okay, let me back up. I was working full time at a university for 40 hours a week, commuting 20 hours a week, finishing school, and trying to do YouTube stuff. So I would wake up at 5, go to work, come back by 7, say hi to my kids, do schoolwork until 1, and then on the weekends I would try to do YouTube. So that was my life for a long time. Now, after school, once that madhouse was actually done, because I did that for 5 years, I'm surprised I didn't have cardiac arrest and die.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
It was horrible.
I feel the same way about the time that I just was working a zillion hours and also trying to do freelance work.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I remember. You were stressed, man. That was hard, and you do good work. So, yes, my chat reminded me they're hooligan disease carriers because I always seem to get something from those little
That's true.
children. Anyway, so
Petri dishes.
balancing that. Well, I guess not balancing. So to just continue to address that, there have been moments where I think if I would have just dug in really hard and made more videos and had time to edit more and make the videos a little more, balance them out or put little funny things in there or whatever, or snip them here and there. If I would really have time to dedicate to that, I think I would have been a much more successful YouTuber so far. I feel like my bit that I bring to it is enough to make me happy, and that's what's most important.
Sure.
Cool.
On the note of balancing, though, first things first, if wifey and kids aren't online with what I'm doing, it doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. And that's because my wife says, you always need a creative outlet. I was in the game industry for a short amount of time. I'm inherently a creative kind of person, but at work you wouldn't know that because that's not what I do. Steve knows. I created my vocabulary from time to time. Anyway, we won't go into that.
That's a joke about cussing.
I swear occasionally, which, anyway.
So we have one swear per podcast.
Yes, one swear per one swear.
But we haven't used it yet, so we can still use it.
Used it yet.
Our PG-13 swear word.
Yeah.
So
It's not.
Go ahead.
No, it's just the joke is that it's an F-bomb, but I don't think we've ever had even one of those on the podcast.
No.
I don't think not the couple I've listened to.
No, I don't. The last episode had one from a YouTube video, and we bleeped it.
We bleeped it
because I just didn't want to expose people. Their ears might bleed, and like, there's this joke on. Oh, this is a tangent. So there's a podcast called My Brother and Me, and they just CISO they just made a TV show with CISO, and they released the first episode on YouTube. And there's a joke where Griffin is saying like they're talking about spiders. The whole episode is about ranchos, tarantulas. That's right. So
Ranchos?
anyway, yeah. So they're like, let's each of us take 10 seconds and talk about how we feel about this, right? So Griffin, he just says, one time I watched a spider shed its skin and my eyes went to hell. And like, and so that's what will happen to our listeners if we have an F word on the podcast.
Right,
their ears will go straight to hell.
Yeah.
We can't save them from there.
It seems completely legitimate.
So anyway.
Got anything to say about that, chatters? Just kidding. I don't want to antagonize them. I don't know them, and I'm really sorry, and I'm sure you're all great. So
They all started typing in just symbols like they're swearing.
Nice.
They said, well, you have entered the no tangent zone. Sarcasm.
Oh,
jeez.
So,
if you don't want tangents,
don't come here because that's a bad place to be.
This is the wrong podcast for
podcast
not
to be.
tangents. Anyway.
Well, in regards to schedule, my wife and I have somewhat of an agreement. So I don't do live streams on Friday night. I leave that open for date night. I don't stream on Sundays because I like to spend time with the family. And sometimes I just catch up on recording those days. That's my day to like chill, right? I leave that as my day of rest. I kind of chill out there. But I tend to get home around 6:30, 7 o'clock every day. I spend some time with my kids before they go to bed. I talk to wifey, and then we have an interesting relationship. See, this is why I've been able to do this for as long as I have. Is she's like, I need
Not
to chill,
like that,
which
though.
means not around you. I'm gonna go play my games now, and she'll play The Sims or Skyrim or whatever.
Sims are good.
And
Good choice.
Most
Alicia
night-
likes Fallout 2, by the way.
I do love Fallout. I've been playing it since
yeah.
December
out
of
pretty much.
2015, right? I don't know. Otto got it for me for Christmas a couple of years ago, and I don't want to stop playing because I don't want it to end. So I'm really into it.
Yeah, Fallout, this series is really good. Bethesda does a really good job of writing those games. I have to
So
say.
anyway, sorry,
Anyways,
wife goes
yeah.
goes and plays games.
Oh, so most nights she'll go play something, and I either balance it two ways. I try to record at least 2 videos, and then I stop and I start rendering. And I generally can't play and record and render all at the same time. It's too taxing to the system, and the recording gets kind of messed up if I'm rendering the background. So then what I'll do is I'll either catch up on some guys that I like on YouTube, I'll watch the news, or I'll go hang out with wifey. And that's kind of how I balance things out. I like to record 2 videos a day if I can. If I'm streaming, I don't put that requirement on myself. And on Sundays, I don't generally put that requirement on myself either. Now, because I've been sick, I haven't been able to do that as well, but that's generally what I do to balance things out. Now, I know a lot of people, their wives aren't quite as like A-OK understanding. My wife and I, we dated 5 years before we got married. We've been married for over 10 years. We kind of just have an understanding that when it's time for us to have a dang date, we're going to have a dang date, and like nothing's going to get in the way of that. So, and I personally check in with her all the time, and I'm like, are you okay? Like, do you want to hang out tonight, or what do you want to do? And she's like, no, I don't. And I'm like, that's fine. And some nights she's like, yeah, watch a freaking show with me. And I'll watch a freaking show with her. So
Nice.
It's fine. And we just kind of balance out responsibilities, because I don't like leaving things unsaid. And I don't want her to feel like, she works from home, but she also does a lot of stuff at home with the kids. I don't want her to ever feel like she's overburdened. And the moment that she is, I don't. When I first started streaming, and some people will actually in the chat will remember this, my wife had just had surgery. So the day I started streaming, she had emergency surgery. We thought it was cancer. It wasn't, thankfully. It was something else kind of stupid and scary. But so I didn't get to stream that night, but the next week I did, but she was bedridden for like 2 months. So I'd be streaming and I'd have my phone like right next to me. And I'm like, hey guys, let's play some 7 Days to Die. And hold on, I need to check and I would just get up and leave. And told everybody in chat, I'm like, I'm helping wifey, and I would leave. And it was funny because some people are like, I literally stayed because you put your family first among everything else.
Yeah.
And I am, as you see on a lot of my bios, at first, I'm a dad and a husband, period. That's first and foremost, always and forever. And that's why on my live streams, that's why on my YouTube channel, I try not to ever swear. I want it to be kind of a pseudo safe place. So that's kind of my thing. So as for balance, I work with my wife and my responsibilities with work. And I just do it in the free time that I actually have. And I'm really passionate about it. There's some nights I stay up until 1 or 2 in the morning waiting for render to end so I can upload. And then I go to sleep exhausted. I'm a little tired the next day. I try not to do that because I don't ever want it to affect my real job, my work, because I owe that to them as well because they provide for me as well. So that's kind of my philosophy on things.
Sure.
Cool.
So the other question we had on the page, and we're actually getting kind of close to being time.
Oh.
Yeah. Just because we don't... I would love to have a really long podcast, but I feel guilty because our podcasts have been longer than normal recently, and I'm like, oh no, I'm demanding more and more time.
More audience, more, listen to us.
So anyway, the next question was, when you first started streaming, what surprised you most about viewers, comments, and likes? I guess, what surprised you most about the audience interaction that you were getting?
In streaming or in YouTube?
We'll say streaming.
We could do both. Like if there was, if they're different.
They're different.
Yeah. So
they're pretty different.
I would be interested in hearing both sides. Like what surprised you most when you started streaming, and then what surprised you most with YouTube?
With YouTube, I'll start with that first. Getting your first nasty comment is a special day. It's like a hazing where you get called bleepity bleep and you're the worst and you sound like a pile of garbage. Go kill yourself, right? Those I took very personally at first. Yeah. What's that?
Oh, I said GKY because it's the internet where we have to shorten everything. So
yeah, LOL.
GKY LOL.
So anyway. IMHO.
IMHO, GKY, LOL, smiley face emoji. Okay, so sorry, that was really dumb.
I didn't see your smiley face, and I could see you, sir.
Yeah, you didn't laugh out loud either.
There it is. That's not creepy. Keep going. Tighten the face more.
Sorry.
That was a really
For those smile. Not benefiting from the video feed, I made a really creepy smiley face. The end.
The end. So yeah, YouTube was like, holy crap, there's some really nasty people. But I found that in that community, people kind of self-regulate. They'll come in and be like, you're kind of a D-bag, and don't say that to Night Ghost, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm literally just going to hands off on this. So if people got super nasty and like racist or anything like that, I would delete their comments.
What video did you get your first nasty comment on?
It was one of my first Vengeful Falmer series for Skyrim. It was,
really?
My mic wasn't that great, and they were like, "Oh, your mic sounds like garbage. You're up." Bleep, bleep, bleep. I'm like, "You're really passionate about microphones, I suppose."
So it didn't even have anything to do with the video content at all. Just
it's kind of like those people who go on Amazon and leave like reviews about the shipping. It's like, okay, dude, like
you understand this isn't connected.
Yeah, like this is not like 100% about what this is about.
Yeah, so. Like maybe you should review Amazon and their shipping methods, or the shipper that shipped it to you, and not the product itself.
Yeah,
exactly.
This product was great, but the shipping was bad. 0 out of 10, 1 star. You know, like
0
out of 10, 1. What does that mean?
1 star. 0 out of 10.
Oh, comma,
1 star.
Okay, I was like, that's an interesting rating system you've got going on, Steve.
I made up a very complex rating system. It's 0 out of 10, 1 stars.
There's an X-axis, a Y-axis, and a Z-axis, and it's somewhere in the middle and here.
And alligator emoji. Okay, so anyway.
Oh my gosh.
So what was that? Just the fact that the community sort of like regulated without you having to be like, oh, get out of here.
No, I mean, a couple people I could tell like were just making comments out of frustration of the way I was playing. And they weren't being nasty. They're just antisocial people on the internet. So sometimes I'll address them directly and go, hey, thanks for the feedback. What do you think about this? And sometimes I'll actually reply. I found with YouTube, it's community-based. So you generally don't find a group of people, unless they're being really vindictive, that follow all your videos that are different content. So like I'm playing Banished with city building. There's a very vivid community there. Vibrant, I guess. That's not vivid. They're not vivid. They're vibrant. But they're very particular. They're like, Night Ghost. Hold on, I should do this in the proper voice. Hold on.
Night Ghost, you should really build your farms in 9x9 squares with one person working it and having a storage facility right next to it. That's the most optimal way to get your wheat.
And I'm like, what? I'm really sorry I used a 10x10 square. I'll work on that.
Yeah. Gosh, didn't you know
Hello?
that's the only way that it has to be done?
Sounds like you need to chill out. Maybe figure out the most optimal way for you to get some weed. Just joking. I do not advocate the taking of drugs,
But
especially if they're illegal. If they're legal, you're okay.
Hey,
to
if
do
you're
that, I guess.
in
Colorado.
Nevada, Colorado, California, Oregon,
hey, there you go. Depends on where you're at.
all those places,
Is it Washington too?
I think so.
I think Washington D.C.
New Hampshire.
I know some have
wherever
passed
we-
All of
medical
our
laws. I don't know if
weed-friendly-
they've passed the blanket laws yet.
Oh, it's more like a health. What's the word I'm looking for?
What?
Medical. That's the word.
Yes.
Medical.
In
marijuana.
some places you can get it from
Not
medical
completely
use.
420 friendly, but pretty close.
Man, I'm a big advocate for the legalization of marijuana because I think we should tax it and put the money towards schooling.
Education.
Anyway.
Hashtag education for weed. I mean, weed for
You know-
education.
Weed education.
Weedication.
Can make
Weed-education.
make community
different.
gardens and then teach kids how to grow it.
Welcome to the community gardens, kids. Don't go
This
to that
one's
section.
called Purple Rain. This one's,
SLC Kush. Anyway,
Oh my god.
oh, geez.
that's the name I would name the
Yeah.
weed that was grown in
So
Salt
I
Lake.
actually have a question for you because you mentioned that when you first started getting those comments, you took it personally.
Yeah.
So how did you move past that, I guess? Because I'm always really afraid that we're going to get some really nasty comments, and I feel, like I've said before, like I'm sensitive.
So
Like
the
I'm a
story-
sensitive person, and I feel like if someone were to say something, I would like think about it all the time and
Yeah.
not be able to move beyond.
Well, that
So-
happens.
The story of the podcast is IDGAF.
Yeah.
And like,
IGAF.
I don't
Yeah.
give a ferret.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I give a lot
PG-13.
of ferrets.
So anyway,
Wiley.
because I'm just like, well, strangers on the internet. Why should I care what they think about me
Yeah.
or the content that I produce?
And I'm kind of more on the stranger on the internet. Why would they take the time out of their day to say something to me? Like I must be really terrible person. I must be the worst. That's kind of my.
I disagree with that conclusion.
Yeah.
But anyway, so how did you
feelings.
get over it?
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of what you guys kind of addressed. And what I mean is, yeah, I took it really personally at first. But at the end of the day, you can't care. And then you got to flip it. You got to say, somebody watched my video. Thank you. Because that brought my video up and trending. You commented, which also brought it up in trending. And if you disliked it, that also brought it up in trending. And I did something polarizing enough to make you hate it.
Interesting. Yeah.
It means
Thanks, Milo
apathy is the
Yiannopoulos.
worst insult.
No! Don't even say his name. I watched a video about him.
Oh, sorry. I've just started a whole new tangent. Hooray!
Okay, but yeah.
I don't know.
But I guess that's
like I
true.
said, I really think apathy is the worst insult. I mean, somebody being pissed at your stuff doesn't really matter. It's like, that's cool. I thank you for your opinion. And if you're going to continue to be a troll, there's a timeout thing. Like, you can just time me out. You know, I've had it in chat, and I'm like, my 5-year-old takes a timeout when they don't listen. Would you like to be treated like that? They generally shut up. And if they don't, they just get banned. It's not a big deal. So I control it. And I'm not a censory kind of person. I don't censor people, right? But in my community, it's like, don't be hateful. You can say I'm an idiot. You can say things about me and what you think I'm doing, but I mean, whatever. You're just going to help. The more comments and more conversation we have about how much of a jerk you are, it's actually just going to help my video.
Yeah,
I don't care.
And that's kind of the way I feel about it too. Like, I have one friend on Facebook who trolls us with some frequency.
Yeah.
And like, and I don't really care because I'm like, little do you know that this just makes Facebook think that this post is more interesting.
And then I usually
shows
send
it to
Steve a
Thank you for
chat
feeding
like,
it to the
oh,
algorithm."
he's back again. You know,
Yeah.
kind
And I'm just like, whatever, man. He was the one that asked us the question about, he said, defend men's rights activists.
and
And I
like-
was like,
Oh, I saw
and I
that.
think
Yeah,
we
I heard
did.
that.
Did we do an okay job defending men's rights activists?
No, because I was just like, what are you activating for?
What right don't you have? Tell me what right.
Yeah, that's basically.
And I think, that's when I talked about men don't have the right to get pregnant.
That's
I believe.
Right. Yeah,
that's
and
what
you
you
got all
said.
mad at me because.
But then you were like, but that's a genetic thing, and you're like, wait, are you saying? And then it immediately turned kind of crazy. So
yeah.
I do have a question for my
was.
chat.
Yeah,
cool,
totally.
One of my main moderators said.
I know it
ask
is.
them
Yeah,
about
she's
the
great.
Hashtag podcast gnome that they're keeping on the floor.
Oh, the podcast gnome. That's Otto. That's Alicia's husband. Yeah. He's actually, you'll hear him on like some old versions of old episodes of the podcast. Yeah. He used to be around a lot more, and he just happened to show up tonight. But he's our producer.
Yeah.
He's
wave. Say hello.
Everybody say hi to Otto. The hashtag podcast gnome.
So, podcast
somebody
gnome.
called you the podcast gnome. Little do you know, Otto's like real big and threatening.
Yeah, here, stand up.
Yeah.
Show. I'm gonna show you off. Come on.
Stand up and spit around.
This is a really great another visual aid for our video listeners.
Oh, no.
Oh gosh. See, this is what happens.
Off the dogs.
Everything's crazy now.
See how scary he is? The dogs are just like, ah!
Okay, lay back down. Lay back down and be non-threatening. Put your hands behind your head like this.
Our podcast always just devolves into chaos.
Dissolves into just madness. Sorry.
Hey, Wednesday.
Oh, this is good though. This is some good stuff.
Awesome.
Sorry, guys. My dogs.
I'm gonna have some really great hashtags to use in our Instagram posts later.
Oh, jeez. All right. So anyway, I don't know. Do you have any other questions? I think we should probably end because
I don't even know what time we're at.
The recording is at about an hour and 15.
Okay.
So, and some of that was like just preamble.
Preamble.
So
that's our own personal.
Yeah, that I'm just gonna save for later and think about on my own time, without putting it into the public's ears.
Yeah.
I'll just think on it.
Just mull it over.
Meditate a little bit.
So anyway, I guess if you joined on the stream from when we started, this has been the Plain Donuts Podcast. You can find all of our podcasts at yourplaindonuts.com. Mm-hmm. That is yourplaindonuts.com. So
my mods did link that in the chat, so a lot of people have access to that now. So that's good.
Nice.
Yeah,
cool.
And we have Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're pretty active on. We have an Instagram, barely.
Yeah.
If you want to go check it out, usually it's just me posting stupid pictures of stuff that I find.
So Instagram.
Steve's house. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's Instagram.
And then maybe I'll post a picture of food once in a while. I don't know. But I've had this bad habit recently of getting my Instagram and the Plain Donuts Instagram posts mixed up. So I'll be in the Plain Donuts Instagram and I'll start like making comments or liking random things. And people are probably like, why is this podcast page commenting on all these dog pictures all of a sudden? Like, that's really weird. So I need to control myself, maybe have a better organizational system so that doesn't happen. But
yeah, geez.
Yeah, but
step your game up, Alicia,
I know,
or I'm gonna fire you.
Steve's my boss is gonna fire me.
He's gonna cut your pay. You won't get your bonus for the year.
Yeah.
Oh man. Don't talk like that.
The chat told me two things. They wanted to talk about my hair, which I don't think is interesting, but they think it is. But we don't want to talk about that. But they said don't forget Martha. No one heard Martha.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure. So one of the things that Jacob does with a lot of regularity on his podcast or on his stream is various different character voices. So we've heard Milosh.
We've heard a couple.
We heard the nerdy guy. Apparently the stream wants to hear Martha. So
yeah.
We heard movie commercial guy already.
Yeah.
So anyway,
you've heard movie commercial guy, yeah.
Take the floor,
Take
Martha.
Thank you, Sugars, for having me on your little podcast. I appreciate your gnome being here. It's been wonderful to be a part of your community. I love donuts. Don't give me sprinkles. Keep them plain.
Nice.
That's beautiful, and I think that's probably where we should end.
Yeah,
we can't top that.
You're like, it's gotten weird. We need to stop.
No, but I mean, we can get pretty weird, but that's pretty good. And we already had dogs barking and floor gnomes, and talked about porn of ourselves.
And, you know what we forgot to do is our 5 seconds of silence at the beginning.
Oh,
dang,
so
that's
we can do it now.
No, it's all right. I think
that doesn't matter now.
I'll be able to find some silence.
Yeah,
it'll be all right.
It'll be good.
So anyway, cool. Thanks. This has been Plain Donuts. I appreciate it. I'm your co-host, Steve.
I'm your other co-host, Alicia. Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.